We turn now to White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney to discuss where the administration stands in this impasse. Welcome, Mr. Director.
John, it's a pleasure to be here on your last show. Congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you. The president said this shutdown would be a present for him. His son, Eric Trump, said this is good for the administration. Why is it good for the administration?
I don't think it's good for the administration. I think the present comment is correct in that I think one of the reasons you asked Mr. Ryan at one of the questions about why are we doing this, why are we here right now, and I think part of the reason is that this is the first anniversary of the president's inauguration, and I think the left wing of the Democrat Party is extraordinarily disappointed with how the first year has gone because the president's had a good many successes. The tax bill, the success in the stock markets, the advances that we've had in employment, the economy, and so forth. And I think one of the reasons you're seeing the Democrats pick this fight right now, and the reason that it is different than it has been in the past, is because here we are on the first anniversary, should be talking about the successes, and instead we're talking about a shutdown.
But why is it considered a present, though, and why is it good? People, and you even said it was cool to shut down the government. People are, on the one hand, being told this is a great disaster for military families and all that, and then these other signals are being sent.
Well, my comment was that I just thought it was interesting from an academic standpoint that after all I've been through in Washington, D.C., to learn on Friday afternoon that the person who actually physically sends the instructions to sort of shut the government down, to go through the lapse in appropriations, is the director of the Office of Management and Budget, which is me. It didn't mean that I liked it. I think the administration has been very straightforward from the beginning. We do not want this shutdown, and that's why you've seen the president work so hard and why we're so frustrated that Senate Democrats can't seem to figure out a way to get to yes.
I'm confused about this military thing. Here's what Congressman Mulvaney said in 2013 during the last shutdown about it. You said, in fact, about 75% of the government is open for business. Mm-hmm. And so you said back then, you said, in the meantime, you should know that our troops are still being paid and Social Security checks are still going out. So why was it true in 2013 when you said this troops are still being paid and not true now?
A couple of different things. First of all, Social Security checks do go out and will go out. Social Security is not impacted by any government shutdown because the money is mandatory and not appropriated. On the military, here's how it works, and I have a much greater understanding of a shutdown now that I'm the OMB director. They will go to work. They do go to work. Folks who are in the military overseas, folks here at home, will go to work. They just don't automatically get paid. What has to happen is Congress has to go back after the shutdown is over and vote to pay them for the time during the furlough.
Claire McCaskill, Senator, Democratic Senator, brought up a vote to pay them while the shutdown was going on. That vote didn't, Mitch McConnell didn't bring that up for a vote. Why wouldn't Congress, why wouldn't the White House, the executive branch, do everything they can to take care of the troops while this is being adjudicated?
A couple different things on that. Yeah, I understand several of those unanimous consent requests came up in the Senate on both sides. For example, I think Mr. McConnell also brought up a unanimous consent request to take a vote today before 1 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, and that was objected to. I think when you get to those unanimous consent requests, those are procedural votes, and it goes to the sort of the dynamic flow in the Senate. But as to the impact of the shutdown on people, the president made it very clear to me Friday night. We talked late Friday, right before the lapse came into place, and he said, look, I want you to do everything you can to make sure this impacts as few people as possible. We are going to run and are running the shutdown very differently now than the Obama administration ran it in 2013. You cannot convince me that the Obama administration did not weaponize this for political purposes. The president has told me, make sure as many people can go to work on Monday as they can. Make sure you use every tool legally available to you to keep as much of the government open, and that's what we'll do.
Because people are saying that's what the administration, Republicans are doing, that word you used, weaponize, which is essentially saying things about the military that are not true in order to put political pressure on Democrats.
Yeah, let's be perfectly clear on the military. And on the same is true for the military folks. The same is true for the folks guarding the southern border, the folks fighting fires. They have to go to work. They will go to work. They will be continuing to guard the country and do the necessary and important work that they're doing, but they have no guarantee of getting paid, and that's not right.
But they will get paid at some point.
Traditionally, every single time in a shutdown, Congress has voted to go and pay them retroactively, and we support that.
And do you have any doubt that they will not be paid?
No, I absolutely believe, well, I got to tell you, Congress, I never thought we'd get to this because we've got, again, you asked Mr. Ryan a question, what's different? This bill would have passed in a previous Congress. This bill is something that the Senate Democrats are opposing, but they don't oppose. And that's new. That's a strange new world in Washington politics.
I want to get your views on what I was talking about with the Speaker, which is the larger kind of atmosphere and talk about immigration here. The Attorney General said this week. What good does it do to bring in somebody who is illiterate in their own country, has no skills, and is going to struggle in our new country and not be successful. In 2015, Dave Weigel, who was then with Bloomberg, interviewed you, and you said, "I've heard a lot of arguments about unskilled labor. But if that were the case, my family would not have gotten in here from Ireland. They were unskilled workers, and they helped build this country." It's not quite xenophobia, you said, but it's moving that way. Are we moving towards xenophobia in the way this is being talked about?
I think what we're moving towards is a recognition that the immigration system in the 21st century in the United States needs to be different than it was in the 19th century when my family came here. Every other developed nation now has a system where you have to show merit. You have to show that you're going to contribute to the economy. In fact, even if you go back to the 19th century when my folks came in, and I think yours did as well, they had to have a certificate that said they would not be wards of the state. And I think that's what we're trying to get back to, the point where we want folks who will contribute to the economy. That's why we want to move away from chain migration and over towards a merit-based system.
But when you said this in 2015, it wasn't the 19th century. So you were making a claim about the tenor of things, and some people are worried that things have ended up right exactly as you predicted in 2015, with a message of xenophobia rather than a traditionally welcoming American message.
We are interested in folks coming into this country who can contribute. I don't think that ever qualifies as xenophobia.
All right, Mr. Director, thank you so much for being with us. We're out of time. We'll be back in a minute with the #2 Senate Democrat, Richard Durbin.